In 2025, as we witness the unrelenting siege on Gaza and the deepening apartheid in the West Bank, the world stands at a crossroads. The present is already unspeakably violent. Families buried beneath rubble, children orphaned by drone strikes, entire neighborhoods flattened in what is called mowing the lawn by Israeli military doctrine. Water is poisoned, aid is blocked, and journalists are targeted. In the West Bank, settler violence surges with impunity, while the Israeli state pushes forward with de facto annexation, backed by far-right ministers and normalized by Western governments. Palestinians are being disappeared, both physically and politically, and the world largely remains mute. But where is this leading us? If history is our compass, we can trace three distinct trajectories from where we are now, each grounded in precedent, each a reflection of what we human beings choose to become. If you're watching this, it is because you care about truth that cuts through propaganda. Subscribe now. Our survival as a global conscience depends on it. The first possibility is civilizational rebirth. It is the path humanity has taken before, when the weight of its atrocities became unbearable. After the Holocaust, the world said never again, though it failed to apply that vow universally. After apartheid in South Africa, it chose reconciliation over retribution. After genocides in Rwanda and Cambodia, it stumbled toward accountability and remembrance. This future envisions a similar awakening, one where the world finally turns its back on settler colonial logic and embraces restorative justice. Palestine, in this vision, becomes what Berlin became after the fall of the wall, a symbol of transformation. The return of refugees mirrors post-World War II repatriations. The dismantling of settlements echoes the evacuation of illegal colonies after Algeria's independence. This is not wishful thinking, it is historically grounded hope. But such rebirths have always required both catastrophe and courage. The question is whether we will summon the latter before the former consumes us. The second path, mass uprising and revolution, is perhaps more historically familiar. It is the Algerian War of Independence, the intifadas of 1987 and 2000, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. When a people is cornered, stripped of dignity, and abandoned by the world, they rise. Already we see signs of this in today's Gaza. Makeshift resistance, cyber-sabotage, youth armed with nothing but stones or code, refusing annihilation. Across the global south, solidarity is not symbolic, it is strategic. South Africa has taken Israel to the International Court of Justice. Latin American nations are cutting ties, and in Western streets from London to Chicago, millions march, even as governments betray their own public opinion. If the violence escalates, and it is escalating, this future of revolution will not just be possible, it will be inevitable. But the cost, as history tells us, will be staggering. We saw it in Vietnam, in Syria, in Iraq. Victory may come, but it will be charred and blood-soaked. The final possibility, the authoritarian revival, the path we are closest to today, is chillingly real. It is not science fiction. It is the digitized repetition of 20th century fascism, enhanced by 21st century technology. The tools already exist: biometric checkpoints, predictive surveillance, facial recognition tied to loyalty scores. Palestinians are beta tested for the surveillance systems now exported to Europe and the United States, from Ferguson to Paris. The erasure of language, history, and place has begun. Gaza is being described by some Israeli ministers as a once and future wilderness. Already, Israeli leaders openly discuss voluntary resettlement for Palestinians. We have heard this before. It was called transfer in 1948. It was called final solution in 1942. The playbook is known. In this scenario, Palestine dies not in an explosion, but in a whisper. Not with headlines, but with the quiet deletion of a people from databases, memories, and maps. This dystopia is not isolated, it is global. Evidence of rising authoritarianism spans continents. In the United States, Trumpism has morphed into a populist authoritarian cult rooted in white nationalism, nostalgia for empire, and a flagrant rejection of democratic norms. Legal weaponization is rampant. Courts are used to punish journalists, whistleblowers, and protesters. Gerrymandering and voter suppression are not scandals, they are strategy. Domestic protest is criminalized as terrorism. Predictive policing and artificial intelligence surveillance now decide who is watched, arrested, or killed. In India, under Modi's BJP, the world's largest democracy has embraced Hindu nationalism. Muslims face lynchings, mass disenfranchisement, and open state-backed hate. In China, a total artificial intelligence surveillance state has already emerged, with real-time facial tracking, a digital social credit system, and the mass internment of Uyghurs in concentration camps. Its foreign policy is equally authoritarian. Militarization of the South China Sea, threats to Taiwan, and financial and technological support to repressive regimes abroad. In Israel, the line between militarism and governance has disappeared. It now operates as a genocidal ethno-state, where Gaza is not merely attacked, it is obliterated in real time. Siege warfare, forced starvation, and apartheid are not secrets. They are live-streamed. The judiciary is being gutted as Netanyahu's far-right coalition rewrites the rules to cement permanent settler colonial dominance. In Africa and Latin America, a wave of military coups in Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea signals the return of strongman rule. Though some reject Western neocolonialism, others regress into militarized control. In El Salvador, President Bukele is praised for lowering crime while throwing tens of thousands into prison without trial, creating a template for tech-enabled mass incarceration. Historical parallels are painfully clear. Interwar Europe in the 1920s and 1930s saw economic collapse give rise to fascism in Germany, Italy, Spain, and Japan. Post-colonial Africa and Asia witnessed revolutions betrayed by military coups and Cold War manipulation. And today, the same story, new tools. The likelihood is high. Authoritarianism is no longer a creeping shadow, it is a flood. The global middle class is evaporating. Ecological collapse is accelerating. Fear is rising, and the ruling elite across nations and ideologies are preparing not to solve these crises, but to digitally cage the rest of us while they escape behind biometric gates. So where does present data point us? Unfortunately, the momentum today leans toward erasure. The staggering death toll in Gaza, the international impunity, the collapse of diplomacy, the active complicity of Western powers, these are signs of a global system that is not course-correcting. The International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice may be invoked, but their verdicts are delayed and defied. United Nations resolutions are vetoed, aid convoys are bombed, and media narratives still use words like clash and conflict instead of what this is, occupation and ethnic cleansing. But we are not doomed to this path. History is not linear, it bends under pressure. The civil rights movement bent it, the end of apartheid bent it. So did the Me Too movement, the Arab Spring, the fall of the Berlin Wall. The choice before us is not between optimism and despair, it is between paralysis and action. Will we let this moment slide into another forgotten genocide? Or will we intervene, culturally, politically, spiritually, to ensure the world remembers it has a heart? The answer is in what we do now. Share this story. Talk about Palestine. Refuse the framing of inevitability. Uplift Palestinian voices. Support boycott movements. Pressure your governments and keep memory alive. If this moved you, like, share, and subscribe. Help this channel grow. Help the truth travel. Because if Palestine lives, justice lives. And if Palestine dies, we may have already buried what is left of our humanity.